Hello Commanders, Commander Plater here, back with another Elite Dangerous video, and today, a bit of a discussion and some stats. We're talking about the shield changes proposed for update 2.3. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, I'm going to read directly from the forum thread put up by Sandro Samarco, telling us a little bit more about the proposed changes. So, the thread reads: for beta 2.3, we've added diminishing returns to shield booster stacking that start around 80% and cap out around 150% from the health of the shield generator, after any modifications on the shield generator have already been applied. The hardness and the hardness piercing of huge ships/weapons have gone up by 160%. It was 200% in the experiment they ran during the last interim build beta. Hardness piercing of large weapons have gone up by 80%, it was 100% in the last experiment. Plasma accelerators and railguns both count as a larger class than they actually are for the scaling. The net result is, big 3 ships heavily stacking shield boosters will have weaker shields, but combined with the 2.203 changes, which those shields regenerate much faster, but they have tougher hulls, especially against smaller/medium sized weapons. It also inherently pulls the third lance down a notch, as it can carry a disproportionately large number of shield boosters, and the hardness change will make large weapons a little more effective against this tougher than normal hull. Now, as already mentioned, they did try this out in beta 2.203, but it didn't make it through to the live servers. Now, I want to hear everyone else's thoughts on this. Have you put loads and loads of time into upgrading your shield boosters? What kind of effect is that going to have to you? What are going to be alternative builds? I'm going to be talking about that a little bit in a minute, but first of all, let's look at some stats, and we're going to be comparing my Corvette in live 2.203 at the moment to beta 2.3. Okay, so looking at these two side by side, initially you can see there is no difference in the actual shield itself, but what is different is the way that they have applied the stacking of the shield boosters. So, on the left we have my shield strength in live at the moment, which is 4,258. And then on the right, the beta, 2,291.5. So a real drop there, and that's close to half, which means I need to do some reshuffling around. Now what I am going to be waiting for is for the fish to come in for the engineers, so that we can go and just go absolutely nuts on the engineering, seeing what we can do and what we can make, and hopefully create something better and give myself a bit of a plan for when all of this stuff goes live in 2.3. If it makes it in again. So this is something to think about as well. Frontier have already had this in a beta and it didn't make it through to the live game. But what they have done is they have made some other changes. The shield recharge speed is definitely something to consider in there. And also something which I'm not going to show on screen here is that the boosters don't actually change their stats. They are all the same, it's just the way that they apply. So something that I do need to look into and do need to double check, and if you've tried this already, which ones get diminishing returns on? So how do they count them? Do they go from top to bottom, first one applied, or how do they work it out, or do they choose the strongest one? That's something that I do need to check, do need to look into. But certainly, I'm gonna say it here, last time round my multi-cannons got a nerf, this time round my shields could be getting a nerf. I'm starting to take it a little bit personally. But there you go. As a big ship pilot, I do have some options of what I can do. So something I'm going to talk about now is effective megajoules. So when we're talking about effective megajoules, we're not just talking that raw shield strength number. We're talking about resistances, and resistances are going to be king going forward. So at the moment my thermal resistance is minus 1.5%, kinetic plus 49, explosive plus 57.7. With some tweaks and some engineering, I can change my strength of my shields. So we have my shield generator, going to try and go for the maximum roll on reinforced shields. Then we're going to have a couple of shield boosters, they're going to have a reinforced shield on there, and then the rest of them are all going to be resistance augmented, and that is going to make a real difference. So to give you an idea, if you've got an extra 50% resistance, that's going to effectively increase your shield strength by 50% based on the type of damage you're taking. So there's some real options there, and it just goes beyond that raw numbers, which, to be honest, as someone who's not really looked into outfitting and I'm really trying to get into it now, that's what I've been doing so far, raw numbers. So is this going to be a massive turn off for lots of players in big ships who've put all that time in engineering their shield boosters, or is this simply going to be a new way forward, a rebalance, and it's going to change the game big time? because it's worth bearing in mind there are lots of ships out there who could be classed as being overpowered, and certainly the raw numbers. I've heard reports of people being able to get their ships up to 11,000 megajoules, which is absolutely insane. You think about it, you're going to be firing at them all day and not a lot's going to be happening. But once again guys, thank you for watching. I'm very interested in hearing your opinions and whether or not you think this is going to be a good change to the game. Is it a pain in the backside to you? What are you going to be doing about it? What's your choices? Obviously this might not make it into the real update on 2.3, this is just beta talk. So once again, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, that's a little bell icon next to the subscribe button, and whilst you're there, why don't you check out and look at the option of becoming a Patreon. It's a great way for you to support the channel and help me to provide you guys with more good quality content. Once again, thank you for watching. Commander Plater out.